The Washington region's faith community stood front and center Sunday as thousands of protesters again converged in the nation's capital in the 10th straight day of protests against racism and police brutality. After Saturday's demonstration in the district drew more than 10,000 participants, the biggest crowd since protests in the city began May 29, Sunday brought more peaceful mass gatherings.
From Sunday, faith community takes center stage as thousands again gather for 10th day of protests in D.C.
Here are some significant developments.
Senator Mitt Romney, R. Utah, marched outside the Capitol on Sunday as people around him chanted, "Do justice. Do justice." Romney, the first GOP senator to attend the protests that have been disparaged by President Trump and other members of his party, embraced the week's mantra, saying he wants to find a way to end violence and brutality and to make sure that people understand that Black lives matter.
In addition to the religious tone of Sunday's protests, references to the civil rights era also were evident across Washington. Along the closed-down streets leading to the White House, several hundred people marched in a demonstration meant to recall the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s historic 1965 march from Selma to Montgomery.
Despite the enormous crowd that massed near the White House on Saturday, Trump on Sunday sought to play down the gathering while announcing he was decreasing the heavy presence of federal security forces on D.C. streets. Mayor Muriel E. Bowser, D., and others had criticized the president's deployment of heavily armed federal officers in the district, without name tags or other identifying insignia, to quell protests that have been mostly peaceful.
Across the Washington suburbs, meanwhile, thousands more took part in demonstrations. In Maryland, protests were held in Tacoma Park, Clarksburg, Silver Spring, Gaithersburg and Germantown, while in Virginia, gatherings were held in Falls Church and in Fairfax and Arlington counties.